Howdy, folks. I'm Mary Mistletoe, mistakenly marrying mischievous Mittens.
I'm Amber.
And here are more mischievous Mittens for us to accidentally marry. I mean, this seems like it's not really great for their long-term relationship.
Yeah, maybe they'll become a Reddit story.
Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Husband to Divorce Me because he kept threatening me with one after I moved my brother into my own house? I'm a 27-year-old female. I've been married to my husband, a 30-year-old male, for 2 years. Our marriage has always been strong. Even when we had a serious fight, we would always resolve it, but this time it's so serious that neither I or my husband is backing down and we keep fighting. Our fight started because I allowed my youngest brother to stay with us. He's 23. I love him and always will do so as long as I'm alive. That's how much I cherish my brother. My brother isn't stable enough in his life. He has no job because he's right now working on his master's. My brother has always been ambitious, he's smart, and he's lived with our parents, and I funded his education and other necessities. But my parents kicked him out a month ago because he cheated on his girlfriend. It wouldn't be a problem for us, but he was dating my father's close friend's daughter, and my father was angry at him, and he kicked him out. I know that it was a mistake on his part, because my brother doesn't drink, and one of his friends recorded him making out with a woman in a club, and that's how word got out. My brother doesn't drink, and he was clearly drunk, so I believed him, but my family doesn't. After my parents kicked him out, I allowed him to stay with me. He's obviously sad that our family hates him, and he lost his girlfriend, and it was truly a mistake. I know, and he doesn't talk to me a lot, he just hugs me and cries and vents. Sometimes I have to baby him enough so that he calms down and goes to sleep. The problem for me right now is my husband. My husband says that he won't share a roof with a cheater. He was always against it before he wasn't direct, but since the past couple of days, he kept telling me that he will leave if my brother stays. Yesterday, I had enough of his ultimatums, so I said that I understand that he's upset and I don't agree with what my brother did, but he's going through a lot like never before. Not only has he lost his girlfriend and his family just because he got drunk and made a mistake, he also needs to focus on his exams, and I, as his elder sister, will help him. If you don't agree with my decision and want him to leave, then I won't stop you. It's my house, and I don't need anyone's permission to let my own brother stay with me. It's not like he's staying with us permanently, just for a while until he gets better and makes a plan for him to find a place near me. My husband got angry and left, but he keeps texting me that I'm choosing my brother over him. He even told his parents, and they called me and said that I was going too far and that I should choose my husband. I got mad and I called him and said that it should have stayed between us. There was no need to involve his parents or others in our life problems. I said that if he wants a divorce, then go file for one. So am I the jerk here? All right, folks, what do you think?
I think Opie's a jerk for making unilateral decisions about the household. His name may not be on the house, but it's his house too. And when you're married, if you want people to stay with you, it needs to be a 2 yeses, 1 no type of situation.
This is a really challenging situation in that respect, right? I mean, I certainly understand OP's desire to help their brother.
I don't.
And I understand the husband's perspective that he doesn't want to live with a cheater. And I think that OP is making far too many excuses for their brother's behavior.
Well, that's the thing. The brother is a grown adult. He's 23 years old. It sounds like he has been coddled his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time he grows up. He made a choice. He chose to get drunk. And if he can't handle his alcohol, that's on him. He still made a conscious choice, and he ended up doing something that seriously hurt another person.
Yeah. And I think that, in the respect that I think that OP really wants to help out their brother, I think that this is kind of like a deal breaker that was bound to kind of happen in some respects, right? I think that OP seems like a very compassionate individual. They want what's best for their brother, and I think that they are putting their brother above their husband in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
and
I really want to push back on the idea that OP is a compassionate person. I think she's compassionate toward her brother.
Yeah.
But she has no concern for her husband and his well-being. She made a commitment to him, not to her brother, for better or for worse, till death do us part, all this stuff. And she doesn't care what he goes through as long as she gets to keep helping her precious brother.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but it also, like, the brother didn't do anything personally to OP's husband. And I mean, sometimes people make bad decisions, sometimes people do bad things, and hopefully this will be the wake up call that actions have consequences for the brother.
Yeah, I don't think so. If his sister's just keeping coddling him, and he like to the point where she has to like hold him so he can fall asleep at night,
That is a lot of coddling. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I think that cheating may be the tip of the iceberg about why the husband doesn't like the brother, and it may be one thing he can latch onto directly. But I imagine there's a lot more resentment here than just the cheating.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a really challenging situation when two people have very different points of view on something, and like there is no middle ground because you can't, there's no compromise of living in the house or not living in the house, right? Other than maybe buying the brother an apartment or something.
That's the thing I was going to say is a middle ground would be OP using her solo funds to help him in some fashion, which it sounds like she's already doing, and I wonder how that affects their marital finances, the fact that she's paying for all his education and paying for, it sounds like, his general well-being too. So.
Well, it just might not be feasible for her to float him financially. And I think, again, maybe this is time for him to get a job or something like that. It might be that he has to put his master's on hold. I mean, life situations change. What about finding a roommate who he can afford to live with? I mean, maybe that's really what it needs to be. Find a few close friends and find some place that he can stay. And again, like, I understand that OP really wants to help them out, but like you said, really the house situation is kind of a 2 yes, 1 no type of thing. And I understand, like, the husband not and their point of view here, right? So it's a challenging situation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say on this. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Not the jerk, but annoyingly self-righteous.
Is the brother writing this?
Amber's like, no. No.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've made my feelings very clear. I think OP is a major jerk who is not treating her partner well at all.
And Anxious Telephone 2997 says, you're the jerk. Quite honestly, it sounds like your brother has you wrapped around his finger, finding his education, enabling his lack of employment, making excuses for his bad decisions. He's 23. He needs to start learning how to take care of himself and face consequences. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but it is your husband's house too. He's uncomfortable with this, and you don't care at all. And OP replies, I get that it's my husband's house as well, but I'm the legal owner. It's unfair for him to say that I cannot move my brother in with me for a while because he's going through a rough time. Likewise, if his side of the family were struggling, I would follow the same to let them stay in my home. In fact, years ago, his mom needed money and I helped her, and I never asked her in return. Right now, it's trivial to me, but at that moment, it was a lot, but it still helped his mom, but his mom is angry at me because I'm helping my own brother. I mean, it sounds like OP then has a lot of extra money at this point in time. Maybe the compromise, like you were suggesting, would be to, or like I think I actually said it, would be to get him on his own apartment.
Yeah, well, that would certainly alleviate the immediate concern of having him in the same living space as OP's husband.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem to address or be concerned at all with the fact that her husband is deeply uncomfortable with this.
Yeah.
In general, I think this marriage may have run its course because it's very clear that OP does not care about her husband very much in this when it comes to her brother is concerned. Like, she is willing to put him above her husband to a ridiculous degree.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And 707-808-909-808-707 says, giving your mother-in-law a few dollars is not the same as moving in your brother who's made nothing but poor decisions and straining your marriage as a result. And OP replies, Not a few dollars, but way more than that. And I wouldn't shy away from helping his family again if needed. But when my own brother needs help, my husband is disagreeing? Like, have we come to a point where we cannot even tolerate a family member living with us for a little while until they get a job? It's not like my brother is going to be living with me for years. It's just for a little while, at most 3 months max. It's not like my brother is invading our privacy. He's a shut-in. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Walking Out of My Dad's Birthday Dinner After Being Ambushed by My Stepmom? I'm a 25-year-old female, and I've always had a complicated relationship with my dad and his wife, my stepmom. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my dad remarried shortly after. His new wife brought 2 kids into the marriage, and they later had 2 more together. So I have 4 half-siblings and 2 step-siblings, all younger than me. Growing up, I felt that I was always the odd one out. My dad's focus was on his new family, and while I was never outright excluded, I always felt like an afterthought. My mom raised me, and I visited my dad every other weekend. But as I got older, the visits became less frequent. I've made an effort to keep the peace over the years for the sake of my dad. I visit for holidays, attend family events, and try to bond with my half-siblings. But my stepmom and I have never really gotten along. She's always criticizing my career, my clothes, and even my decision to stay single for now. My dad usually stays out of it, saying that he doesn't want to take sides. Last week was my dad's 50th birthday, and my stepmom organized a dinner at a fancy restaurant. I showed up with a gift and was genuinely excited to celebrate with him. Things were fine until dessert. That's when my stepmom stood up and said, Since we're all here, it's the perfect time to address some issues as a family. And I felt immediately uneasy. She launched into a speech about how I've been distant and I don't do enough to blend into the family. She brought up things like how I don't call her on Mother's Day or babysit my half-siblings when they need help. She even mentioned that I missed a family barbecue last month, which I had already explained was due to work. Then my dad chimed in. He said that he agreed with her and that it was time for me to make more of an effort to be part of the family. He added that I should apologize to my stepmom for being cold towards her. I was stunned. This wasn't a birthday dinner. This was an ambush. I asked if anyone else felt this way, and my stepmom's parents, who were also there, chimed in, saying they always thought that I was too independent and didn't value family enough. At that point, I had had enough. I stood up and I said, if this is why you invited me here, then I'm leaving. My dad tried to stop me, saying that I was being dramatic, but I walked out. I went home, I turned off my phone, and I cried. Since then, my stepmom has been blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and ungrateful. My dad texted me saying that he was disappointed in how I handled things and that I should have stayed to talk things out. Even my mom, who I told the situation to, said that I could have stayed a little longer to keep the peace. I feel like I was ambushed and humiliated in front of everyone. Am I the jerk for walking out instead of staying and addressing the issue? All right, folks, what do you think? Should OP have not walked out of this very public ambush and just taken the heat in a public space like this, and kept the peace, or were they in the right here?
Yeah, definitely not the jerk here. Stepmom is a giant flaming jerk. What she did is inexcusable, and honestly, I would recommend at this point in time just going no contact with that side of the family. It seems like she's mad she's not getting free babysitting.
Yeah.
Like she always sees OP as a tool for her devices. She wants to mold OP into her own thing, and when OP dares be her own independent person, they're like, "Oh no, you're terrible." Like her parents chiming in and being like, "Oh yeah, we've always thought you were too independent." It's like, it's a good thing to be independent, but like also she was given no choice otherwise because she was excluded from the family. It seems like her dad has not made any attempt to reconcile the way he treated her in the past as an afterthought.
Yeah.
It seems like he doesn't see this as a problem. He's so enamored with his wife and his other children, and he's willing to accept his wife's skewed view on things at the expense of his daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right here. It does seem like the dad is more concerned about appeasing his current wife than actually building a relationship with his daughter, and I think that's a travesty. I think that OP doesn't need to keep the peace here, right? I mean, keeping the peace, you don't need to. There's a difference between being walked all over and keeping the peace. Keeping the peace is maybe letting a comment slide, right? That you might get a little annoyed at, right? This is a full on, they want to walk all over OP, dictate how OP spends their time, and use them as a free labor, right? I mean, this isn't about keeping the peace. This is about OP establishing firm boundaries on what they're going to tolerate.
Right. Well, and too often keeping the peace is used as an excuse to tolerate bad behavior.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to like maybe have certain topics of discussion off limits to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Because people are really passionate about these two things. There are pros and cons to that, but this, like you were saying, is a whole nother ballpark. They are ambushing OP, trying to mold her into what they want, and that is not something you need to keep the peace for. Because if you do, they're just going to make you into their little robot.
Yeah, exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Queen Red 01 says, first things first, you're not the jerk. Go ahead and block your stepmom, and you don't have to watch out for your younger siblings no matter your reason. Doesn't matter if it's work related or not. And what her parents think shouldn't nor does it matter, along with not calling her on Mother's Day. What I learned about the whole keep the peace, what it really means is that you need to be a doormat for other people while putting your peace to the side. And OP replies, thank you for all the support. It really helped me feel less alone. I met with my dad one-on-one to talk things through. I told him how hurt I was by the ambush and explained that I've always felt like an outsider in this new family. Winnie admitted the dinner wasn't the best time to bring up the issue, but he still wants me to apologize to my stepmom to move forward. I told him that I need time and space to process everything. For now, I haven't responded to my stepmom's text. I'm focusing on setting boundaries and deciding what kind of relationship, if any, I want with them. Thank you again for your advice and validation. It means so much. That's a really positive first step. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to let my dad's new wife discipline me? So my dad recently got remarried to a woman we'll call Jane, a 40-year-old female, about 6 months ago. We haven't become best friends, but in all that time, she has been super nice and trying to find a place in the family. But since our whole family accepted her, she has become a bit weird over the last couple of weeks. It started small. For example, she would comment on my clothes being too revealing, tank top and shorts, or telling me that I was on my phone too much. I would brush it off, figuring that she was still adjusting, and so on and so forth. But last weekend, it was a bit too much. I came home from a friend's house a little after 10 p.m. My curfew's always been 11, and my dad has never had an issue with it. But as soon as I walked in, Jane was standing in the kitchen with her arms crossed like she's my parole officer. She's like, where have you been? You were supposed to be home by 9, blah, blah, blah. I told her that curfew's 11 and it's always been 11. She responded, not anymore, not as long as you're in this house. It's still my dad's house. I told her that I follow my dad's rules and not hers until she interrupted me and started talking about respect and authority and how I'm too old to be acting like a rebellious child. I said that I'm not a child and you're not my parent, period. So she told my dad about it, and guess what? He told her, my curfew's 11. It's always been 11, and she's not changing it. I thought that would be the end of it, but she's been sulking ever since, making weird comments about how nobody respects her and the house has no discipline. Last night, she tried to ground me because I didn't do the dishes right. I told her that there's no way that she would ground me because she's not even my real parent. She stormed off and later told my dad that I'm disrespectful, and he's letting me get away with too much. He told her to stop trying to parent me, and now she's barely speaking to either of us. I told my aunt, and she says that I'm being disrespectful and should just listen to Jane, since she's part of the family now. But I feel like I'm old enough to set boundaries and not to be treated like a kid. My dad's on my side, but I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm causing a bit of unnecessary drama. Any advice is appreciated. Edit, by the way, I'm a 19-year-old. Sorry for not mentioning. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. OP is a grown adult and doesn't have to listen to anyone's parenting at this point in time. Now, since they do live in their dad's home, there may be some household rules that they abide by, especially if they're not paying rent. But certainly OP does not have to just follow the rules of any adult in the household.
Yeah.
The fact that Jane is trying to implement these new arbitrary rules and then not even telling OP them and then being upset when OP violates them without knowing is very bizarre. Like, your curfew's 9 p.m., where were you? Like, OP has no idea that Jane was trying to change her curfew.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Jane is treating respect like that old adage where, some people who say respect is, uh, if you respect me, you respect me as authority. I respect you, and I treat you, means that I treat you like a human or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like something like, if you don't treat me as an authority, I won't treat you as a human.
Yeah, exactly. And this is really the kind of respect that she's looking for. She wants to be an authority. She wants to rule over OP.
Right, and just have OP blindly follow, and just have OP follow whatever she says.
Mm-hmm. So I think that this is not OP's problem. It's a Jane problem. She needs to get over the fact that she isn't an authority. She has no authority here, right? She doesn't. OP doesn't have to listen to her. And OP's dad even has their back, right? Because, like, this means that OP has nothing to worry about. This is a Jane problem. Jane needs to get over this, and as long as OP's dad has OP's back, no problem. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
We used to call our teacher Mr. Turtle. He taught us well.
Ah, that's not too bad. I like that. I like that well. And I have Mega Mint. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Fantastic Friday, folks. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in the form of a short poem.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Living in a house does not give you absolute rule.
I think that is a really good moral. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.